Before we start today's episode, I want to extend an invitation that might just be calling you this February. Build Her Legacy Mastermind is an 8-week restructuring of your life, your money, your identity, and ultimately your future. Most women are trying to build the life they want on top of shaky foundations, unclear of what they truly desire, and unsure how to make money work for them in a way that creates real freedom. As we move into 2026, this is a call to rise and to lead differently, to stop building alone and start co-creating with God. Inside this mastermind, we are going to rebuild with Him at the center so you walk away financially empowered, anchored in your God-given identity, and equipped with the blueprint to build a wealthy life and a legacy worth passing on. We begin February 11th. And if this is landing for you, there is space for you inside Build Her Legacy. DM me on Instagram, the word legacy, or click the link in the show notes to apply. This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wellthy CEO podcast.
Hello, my dear friend. Today, I wanted to just do a check-in with you. We are at the end of January, but it's not done yet. We are at the beginning of a new year, and I wanted to just see how your first month of 2026 has gone. And if things have not gone as planned or as you thought they were going to, I wanted to share with you something simple, freeing, and that you already know. January is not over yet. You still have time to slow down, reset, and choose where you actually want to be heading this year. You know, I think sometimes in January, there's so much pressure that can come with the beginning of a new year, especially in the world of Instagram these days, right? Like people are coming out with their carousels of what they're leaving behind and what they learned in 2025 and what they're going to be doing in 2026. And there's just so many voices, and sometimes there's a lot of chatter. Maybe you feel like expectations that you need to post. And I'll just even share with you, if you look at my feed, I haven't gone into any of that in the month of January. I'm going to be sharing little and little, but I try to remove some of that pressure because it really takes away from the energy that this month as a foundation for the year should actually hold for you. And so I want to invite you that you still have time. The end of January is here, but it's not over. And sometimes women, we rush into January with resolutions that maybe later on you don't really feel connected to them, or they're not really actually aligned with what you're wanting. But for the sake of January and the new year, you set them anyways. And so I want to share a little bit with you today about what I do instead to set myself up for a new year, because it's been foundational for me for my own personal growth, and of course also my business and me as a leader, my relationships, and now stepping into motherhood for a full year. And so I did this last year as well. But really it's been something I've been practicing for well over a decade, and it has served me good. And so I wanted to share this with you. I have never, ever been a fan of New Year's resolutions, not because they're bad, and not even because they have such a failure rate. It's a crazy statistic of, how many people fall off the bandwagon. But I really feel that many people set New Year's resolutions, and this is what I was just saying earlier, kind of from this place of expectation. And sometimes there can be a place of emotion rather than actual alignment. What do I mean by that? Is sometimes the way that we're feeling in the present moment can dictate what type of New Year's resolution we want to set. When really that's short-sighted. It's like, what is the overall vision? What is the overall plan? What are you actually trying to achieve in life and overall, rather than just something that is a short term, I'm going to say almost like satisfaction. And sometimes I think people make these crazy goals that really then start to feel overwhelming and unattainable. And so, especially when we choose goals based on a feeling rather than what is it that we want to embody, that we want to experience, how is that working towards what we want as a goal in our life? And so naturally they fall off, right? This is what happens. And so it's not because even the person is weak, but like I said, it's like because the foundation isn't rooted. And resolutions are really a reaction, and we never want to react to anything. We want to be proactive. We want to be intentional. We want to think things through so that then when things do arise, we actually already are very grounded in what our response is going to be. And vision is the same way. It is intentional direction. And so this difference really, really matters. And so I want to invite you into my process and share with you, and maybe you do something similar already, which is what would be wonderful. And if not, this is an opportunity for you to maybe do something a little different this year. And so instead of New Year's resolutions, this is what I do every single January. I have a 10-year vision with a 5-year plan and a 12-month focus. And so every January, and sometimes I try to do this even before the new year hits, I set aside time in November to start getting ready for the year ahead, because you can't move forward without reflecting on backwards and where you've just come from. And so I'm going to get into that in a moment. But so I review, what is my 10-year vision? And this is my long view compass. This is what in the background and vision board status, like big things are on there of who is Shae becoming in 10 years from now? What is she doing? How is she living? What does her family look like? What has she achieved? What does her health look like and feel like? And so who am I becoming over the next decade? And what legacy am I building? How am I being shaped? Who am I becoming as a woman, now as a mother, and also a leader? So these are really high level visions, but I invite you to get really detailed about what life looks like 10 years from now. And the more you do this, you will see over the years, some of those things stay in your 10-year. Like, this is why you review it. It's not to say like, your needs and wants and dreams might tweak a little bit year over year or 5 years over. And that's okay. Every January, you are the architect of your life. You got to design it the way you want. But it is so important to have a vision locked in as to where you're heading in a big year plan. And so then I review what my 5-year plan is, and I make any tweaks. Again, the 5 years is kind of like that halfway mark. So it's like looking at what needs to be in place in 5 years in order to make your 10-year vision a reality. And so it brings you closer to that vision. And this is, again, these are going to be major milestones in your business and your finances and relationship and wellness and parenthood, and also like in your faith journey as well. And so it's close enough to feel real, but it can feel far enough out that it is still going to stretch you. And then the last thing is looking at your 12-month focus. And you're going to map out what needs to happen over the next 12 months in order to get you on track to that 5-year plan. And this becomes the part that then you will execute on a daily basis. And I invite you could break it down in quarters. You can do it once a month. I invite you to do both, but maybe it feels a little overwhelming in the beginning. And so calendar it that every quarter you're reviewing where you are in your 12-month focus in your roadmap. Because again, this is your opportunity to be able to tweak, pivot. What haven't you accomplished up until the first quarter? Why haven't you accomplished it? What's not working? What do you need to redo? What do you need to change? What do you need to stop doing? This is really, really important, because this is where, if you don't have these intentional check-ins, 6 months to the year will go by and you'll be like, oh, where did time just go? Because it just keeps flying by, as we all, I'm sure, can relate. And so you want to say to yourself, what matters most this year? And what is going to move the needle for you in your life? What is going to create the change? What is no longer yours to carry? Like, what do you need to stop doing in order to become the woman that you want to be, in order to achieve the things that you want? What do you need to stop doing and let go of? And so many times people ask, they just want more, like more on their plate, and they're asking for more. And in order to make space, you got to remove things. You got to take things off your plate in order to make space for the new and welcome that in. And so sometimes, so much of what we want, we have to be willing to stop doing certain things. And obviously that also goes in line with like habits. Like, what habits do you need to kick? What new habits do you need to instill? Is that waking up earlier? Is that getting an extra workout in during the day? Is that putting your notifications on silent on your phone? Like, I literally, my phone's on silent all the time. I can't handle the anxiety that the pings give me, and they're major distractions. If you are trying to stay present, or you're trying to do deep focus work, when you have all these notifications going off, it's so distracting. So, maybe that's something like that for you, but like, look at what are your habit structures that need to change in order to help you be focused on what your goals are for 2026. And so this is the 3-layer structure that keeps me aligned and not in reaction mode. There's a plan. And I will offer you one further. I know I said, if you can even do it monthly and then also quarterly, I do what's called a CEO day. And I pick one day out of the month. I recommend either the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month to do a check-in where you're working on your business, like on life, rather than in it. So take a solo day. And if you are a mom, you might not have the luxury of being able to do that. I am learning these things. And so even for me, my CEO days are going to be looking very different this year for me. But I recommend, even if you take 4 hours of time and have somebody help you with the kids, so that you can get away, be removed from your environment, and go somewhere, whether that's having a spa day and then you have the lounge afterwards, going for coffee, but somewhere that you can be grounded and really get into your work, to be working on yourself and what your 12-month focus is. Now, this is the part that is deeply personal to me. I want to share this with you, and it is really, really important. And I really feel this call this year to be sharing more of, I'm going to say, the behind the scenes. Although if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you do know that I am strong in my faith. I want to ask you a question that could change everything for you this year. I want you to consider, who are you becoming this year, and what is God calling you to build? Because we all go to sleep with these ideas that keep us up at night, or first thing in the morning, or as we're driving, and it just keeps popping up in our head. And that subconscious reoccurring is that call. And so I'm asking you, like, what is God calling you to build? And I want to say this to you gently and also respectfully. I know not everyone listening has a relationship with God, or even will acknowledge a higher power. And that's okay. You're obviously more than welcome to hang out in this space. But if you're listening right now and something in you feels curious, I invite you to sit with that curiosity. If you've ever wondered if there's something bigger out there guiding your steps, watching out for you, Maybe this is your year to explore that, and know that you're a daughter of a king, that you were created with incredible intention and design. And maybe you don't realize that yet. And maybe you're not sure and you don't know where to start. But I am this year really for me, I'll share with you one of my personal intentions is really inviting God to co create with me in all the areas of my life. And really being intentional about that in my business. I've always prayed over my business, of course, and different decisions that I need to make. Um, but I'm showing up differently this year where I really feel that I want God to be woven into the fabric of what I'm doing. And so I invite you to sit with that. And, maybe this is your call this year as well. I mentioned this earlier. So before you can look forward, this is really important that you look backwards. So something I always do before I vision cast, I reflect. I look back on the year that's just happened, and you're going to see where things were aligned, where they were misaligned, and it is going to help you to design your 12-month focus. Beyond that, it is so important that you are also looking at what were your biggest gratitude moments of the year that had just passed. Where were you blessed and what were some of your biggest blessings? Also, what were the most painful parts of the year? Things that could be turned hopefully into a lesson, or where your teacher, pain can be a teacher if we allow it to be. What were your challenges? How did you grow from these things? And from the lessons, what did you learn? What are you taking away? What patterns are you repeating that aren't serving you? What excuses keep surfacing that are holding you hostage, I will say, and keeping you from being the woman that you're called to be and keeping you small? So what do you need to be breaking? What do you need to be releasing? And what are you going to be saying goodbye to and leaving in 2025? And what are you going to be bringing into? What are you calling in more of in 2026? And so this is really, really, really important to take that time and literally write it all out. I encourage you to do pen to paper. I know we're all very digital these days and everyone loves to put stuff in their iNotes or on their laptop, but there is scientific data that really shows the power of paper to pen and the energy that comes through your body and the chemical reaction that happens in your brain. So it's very, very powerful to be actually writing this down. The last thing I want to invite you to do is, instead of setting a New Year's resolution, the other thing that I do is I create what I call an anchor word or a focus word for the year. And this anchor word does exactly that. It is the theme, if you will, that's going to be for 2026. And anytime I kind of start to derail, it brings me back and it allows me to be grounded. And maybe for you, just, to give you some ideas, an anchor word, it can be so many things. It can be release. It can be healing. It can be, over the years, I'm trying to think of some of my other ones. Like mine, obviously last year was like motherhood and this, and the expansion of myself and selflessness. But it can be your year to rise. It can be to rejuvenate. It can be to grow. It can be 10x. There's so many different words that you can use that are going to cast the theme for your year, and it's going to be the anchor that's going to hold you steady, keep your emotions grounded, and bring you back to what you are mapping out for the year. And so this is a strategic direction that guides my decisions and also my own self-leadership in my life. And so I want to share with you again, January is not over. You still have time to create intention, get really clear on what you want your 10-year vision to be, your 5-year plan with your 12-year focus, and then mapping out your direction for this year. And I'll just say, if you want support for this, I have put together a free vision planning framework, and I would be so happy to send it to you. That'll just help you guide you through this entire process. The reflection, the release, the calling in, your anchor word, all of this stuff. If this sounds helpful for you and you want the free PDF, DM me the word January on Instagram and I will send it directly to you. Or you can click the link in the show notes as well. And just in closing, I just want to say it's been really great hanging out with you today in this episode. And I just want to remind you that this really is your year to rise. This is your year to be aligned with your desires and to build with intention, and maybe even with your creator. Your future self is waiting for you. And I am so proud of her for the things that you are going to build, do, and accomplish this year for yourself and stepping into the woman that you keep envisioning to become. You already are her. You just need to rise and let her out. If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time, lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.